3010. Sky condition, few clouds 2,500. Temperature 12, dew point 4. Altimeter 3017. Localizer DME, runway 28 left approach in use. Landing and departing, runways 28. Nose to airmen, south ramp and helipad closed. UAS operations 1 nautical mile, southwest of the field, service to 200 feet AGL, in effect daily and coastal waters, available on HIWAS, flight watch or flight service frequencies. Advise on initial contact, you have information, Bravo. Hayward Airport information, Bravo 2054 Zulu observation, wind 280 at 4, visibility 10.
Crosswind turn, 27 Hotel.
Epic 6 Mike Yankee, left 270, departure is approved, remain below 1,000 to overhead midfield, runway 28 left fully, clear for takeoff.
28 left, clear for takeoff, and remain below 1,000, 6 Mike Yankee. Okay, nose gear's locked. Hey, 99.5. There we go. Airspeed's alive. 80. And 80. Pause the brake here.
Access 27 Hotel, runway 28 left, clear for the option.
27 Hotel, clear for the option, runway 28 left.
At 400 feet, start our turn. Pressurization's kicking in. Still got the airport. He wants you over midfield if it's possible. That's awesome. Like that? Very nice.
5-star.
Let's go and turn right 30 degrees.
Epic 6 Mike Yankee traffic ahead and to your left at 10 o'clock and 4 miles eastbound. 1,000 indicated is Robinson R44.
6 Mike Yankee, return to the right.
Roger.
Good heading. Hey, how do you feel about your igniters? I leave them on when we're low. Okay. Unless you want them out of the audio, I'm happy to do that now. Okay, cool. Hey, help me with those shells to the Charlie.
I'll call it. No factor frequency change approved.
Vess. See ya. See ya, 6 Mike Yankee.
27 Hotel, runway 28 left at Zulu, taxi to Zulu.
27 Hotel, taxi to
November
Zulu.
396 Mike Yankee, climb maintain 3,500. 3,500, 6 Mike Yankee. Yeehaw! That's what I love. 5,500 foot per minute. That's good. Without even trying. 1,000 feet to go. 100 feet to go. Level out temporarily, got a target.
Central aircraft, air confirmation, Charlie, current wind, calm, altimeter 3015.
Autopilot off.
Hayward Tower, Skyhawk 72653 at 2,500, 7 miles to the northeast. Request a full stop landing with information, Bravo.
We're on 121.5, 7,000 foot per minute. Jeez. Good sustained 4,000 foot per minute. Okay, so this will be another one of these amazing Sfaro Aviation is running this great practical pilot series for us to learn by. This is also a Greg and Elliot epic adventure video simulating an engine failure in Pratt & Whitney powered Epic LT, and I go from 1,272 equivalent shaft horsepower to nothing in a second here, and show just how we're going to handle that engine failure. In a nutshell, we're just going to go right through getting towards a nearby airport and going through a little bit of a troubleshoot. Then we're going to feather, and we're going to shut everything down while we prepare to shoot a GPS approach down to low minimums. We've got a 500-foot overcast is what we're simulating. We're just going to try to get it down on the ground in one piece. Okay, so now we're having our engine failure, and sorry about the bump, pulled my power back a little quick there. Here's our engine failure. First thing we want to think about, just like any airplane, is getting it pointed towards an airport that would be suitable. And then as we go at standard rate turns, since we're in IMC conditions and pitching over for trimming for best glide, we're going to also be thinking about what kind of troubleshoot measures we can take. At this point, the descent rate's rather rapid. We, a windmill, are going to lose about 1,500 foot per minute at 130 knots. That pitch attitude's probably going to end up being quite a bit nose low. We're going to unpin our moor lever, and we're going to advance that slowly. Yeah. And what we're doing there is we're making sure that we don't have a problem with the fuel controller. If we did, that would recover entire power control. It's just a little trickier to use than your throttle lever.
So we're going to simulate
At this
feathering.
point, since none of that worked, we're going to simulate a feather. We would be pulling this all the way back to feather.
But instead we're
Prop
just
would eventually come to a stop, but instead we're going to simulate a zero thrust. Add a little bit of power so that we get more like a 800 foot per minute descent rate. That's what we would get with feather, gear up, and flaps up in this airplane. 130 knots, 800 foot per minute. This looks pretty good. Maybe a little more power.
I think initially it requires something that will stable out a little.
Yeah, now if you were to pitch for 130, I think it would do the trick. Okay, so now that we're pointing in the right direction, we know we've got the field made, but we really want to have a GPS approach also. So Greg's going to go ahead and load that.
Right over here.
So he goes into the procedure, select approach, and he goes through plugging that all in.
30.
And we'll go ahead and show what we're doing here.
We loaded that approach, clear back out of the flight plan.
Okay, and then we can see that we're in pretty good shape for turning left to a right downwind, if you want to do that. Oh, we've got 7,500 feet. Now the altitude loss is more gradual. I'm going to have to power it back just a little bit to simulate zero thrust. There we go. Okay, so we did the restart. Of course, we do the communications. We come in here and we do our transponder 7700. Even if we're on with flight following or on an IFR clearance, we normally would be. We still want to squawk 7700 because that lets all the other controllers in the area know what's going on over here. And then, of course, we would stay with our current NorCal or center frequency, and they would receive our Mayday call with our 3 souls on board and White Epic attempting emergency landing at Byron. We've had a total engine failure, and we're gliding for a GPS approach. If you could keep everybody out of the area, that'd be great. And then we might just turn off that frequency so that we don't have a lot of invasion of communications. If we keep the nearest page up, we can keep track of how far we are from the field. We're 5 miles out, we're at 6,800 feet. Because the field elevation is 79 feet, we really can just treat it as if it's level. As far as the math goes, we're trying to be about 1,000 feet for every mile. If you guys want to check out the other video we did in Osiris, it shows this pretty well. Now we're coming up on...
Also see BAB-P here at 2,400.
Yeah, right, exactly. We can see we're way above the final approach fix altitude. It's definitely a good reference. All right, so we'll go ahead and start the turn now because we're at 6,500 and we're at 6.5 miles. So at this point, it's a good time to make that turn to final. And we're just gonna intercept the final approach course, and then we'll decide when we point the nose down at the threshold, we're gonna be able to decide whether we need more drag or not. And once we decide that, we'll start with flaps, and we'll continue with gear, and second notch of flaps once we get to the kind of angle and position that we need in order to make that suitable transition to touchdown. All right, looking good so far. If this doesn't sequence on, we can always hit the suspend button. That'll force the sequence to kaduk. There we go. Now we can see that we're 7 miles from Byron and 5,700 feet. We want to still be pitched for 130 though. We want to retain our best glide until we decide that we're established on final in a good position to start steepening it up. We need to back this power off just a little bit in order to do a true simulation of our glide performance here.
Or just pick it up.
That looks better. Okay, we've got the glide path. We can see it's way below us. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start dropping the nose down. We know that if we drop the nose, we're going to accelerate. So we go ahead and put in a notch of flaps right off the bat. We'll keep that intercept angle going to the approach. Now we can see if we drop the nose further, yeah, it's definitely going to increase the speed. So this is a point where we feel pretty assured that putting the gear down is going to do the trick. Nice, that's looking good. All right, now you can see with the nose down on the flight path indicator, we've got a gradual speed increase. So we have to keep in mind what our final flap speed is. Final flap speed on this is
130 knots.
130. So what we're going to have to do, because we're continuing to increase on speed, we're going to pop the nose up, we're going to get to 130, flaps. We're going to put in those flaps, and then we're going to drop it back down. If it were a real emergency, we might exceed that flap speed a little bit, but since we're trying to be nice to the airplane, we're not going to do that. Byron traffic, epic simulated engine failure. We're coming up on a 3-mile final for runway 30 at Byron. Okay, now at this point, you just point that nose right to the threshold. You can see this slip is doing the trick. Just keep it right on the threshold.
Traffic, 11 o'clock, low, less than 1 mile.
There's really less power. We have to ease the power back in order to make it work. We've got 3 greens coming across the fence. Because of the slower speed, we've got less drag. All right, we're going to back over to final.